Hello, everyone. Welcome to Meditation Australia's amazing one-day online event. I'm very honored to be here with you. My name is Tami, Roos, and I've been practicing meditation myself for almost 23 years now. So it is absolutely a non-negotiable habit in my life, something I'm incredibly passionate about, and I'm really looking forward to sharing with you the concept or the idea around why I feel it is literally the number one most important tool that you can embrace to actually bring more awareness into your life, to enhance your performance, to enhance your relationships, and really to work out what has meaning for you, to give you that sense of fulfillment, that sense of joy and deeper contentment. It is the practice that allows you to come home to yourself. And there's no other practice around it that I've found in my years on this planet that does this exact thing. I want to give you a bit of a brief background into why I am so passionate about this, and so that it might help illustrate or paint the picture for you. So first and foremost, when I did begin meditating, I had no idea what meditation really was going to do for me. As they say, you don't know what you don't know. So I had no concept of what was actually going to transpire from the standpoint of what benefits am I going to experience, what am I going to start to feel, what shifts, what actually in my life is going to change. And I think that's really, I guess in one respect, sometimes a nice way to think about it, because oftentimes you hear people that are teaching meditation and they're saying, yes, it's this great thing, but I really wanted to take you back. Like, I had no idea. I was like most of you who didn't have a practice. Maybe I knew what it was, I dabbled in it, or, that type of thing, but I had no real concept. So I learned to meditate, and the more I did, I started to experience these fundamental changes. I was incredibly burnt out, I was incredibly tired, and I had very little patience, and I didn't understand why, or even that my life could be different if I started looking after me and going internal to my world. So I want you to think about that concept for a moment when I say it's the practice that brings you home to yourself. We are so externally focused. We're always looking at things outside of ourselves. We wake up, we're thinking about what's on the to-do list, we're thinking about job, family, friends. I've got to go shopping, I've got to go get the dry cleaning, I've got to get to work, I've got this meeting to attend to. So everything that we're doing pretty much from the moment that we wake up is an external focus. Even if that means about exercising, that's still an external focus. It's only when we stop, we hit a pause button, we close our eyes, and we're actually still and bring that awareness inward, that we start to have this relationship with ourselves. So again, bringing it back, when I learned to meditate, I was like, what is this? I found it so incredibly hard initially to sit still because I had never, ever done it. I was always on the go. So for me, it was more like the persistence in sitting and knowing that what I was doing was going to benefit me really paid off, because it did transform my life. So if I brought my awareness internally, what I started to recognize was, how's my body feeling? Am I tired? Am I feeling energetic? Am I sad? Do I have frustration? Do I feel really content? Am I happy? What do I like? What don't I like? And the list of questions started unfolding the more I meditated. I started having this awareness where I was listening to Tami, and it brought me home to me. But as a byproduct of all of this, what I really started noticing was that not only did I feel better, not only was I experiencing, calmer emotions, but my energy stores started to elevate. Remember, I was saying to you, I was incredibly burnt out. I didn't recognize my life could be any different than the way it was, because I've been doing it that way for years on end. So to stop and do something new, create almost like a disturbance in the pattern of the way I was living life, is what actually transformed my entire, not only my well-being, but my perspective, and even what I was doing in terms of a career. So I want you to just contemplate that for one moment, because meditating is not about that anything's broken and you need anything fixed. You're not broken. You're whole. All we're doing with the meditation practice is enhancing. Okay, so really understand you're enhancing your well-being. I define meditation simply as learning to relax the body and quiet the mind. It's a form of relaxation. So if we really grasp that and understand that, we can see how that becomes, maybe that's an easier notion to accept. It's not about changing anything. It's not about saying anything's broken. It's about simply recognizing I'm going to engage in a practice that's going to allow me to relax. But what actually happens for us? All right, I'm going to go into a little bit of the science here because I think it's incredibly important. So I went, because of my benefits, back to school. Okay, the benefits I was experiencing. I became so passionate. I wanted to have the ability to, as I'm going to do now, speak to others about what was happening. Remember, I engaged in the practice without knowing anything about it. So I went back to school and got my PhD in parapsychic science, and I wrote my dissertation on meditation, the cumulative effects to a meditation practice on the mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual bodies, and the impact that that would have. So I think I'm pretty well, I've got the science backing me. I do have the background here to actually convey some of these scientific truths that have been absolutely proven time and time again. Number one, meditation works. It's simple, it's natural, and it is easy. But what needs to happen is you need to practice, right? It's a cumulative practice. The second thing, though, that I want to talk about here is that we do know the number one benefit, scientifically proven again, is it's the reduction of stress and anxiety. Okay, so with a meditation practice, we know that we are less stressed, we have less anxiety. So what happens? All right, I just want you to think about that. So when we're stressed, we tend to feel like maybe this constriction in our chest, a heightened emotions. We're starting to get tense. We're starting to really feel like, we're not really performing optimally, are we, when we're stressed? We're impacted physically, we're impacted emotionally. So what starts to happen then, and even mentally, our mind starts spinning, our communication is impeded. All right, so think about your relationships. If we are stressed, it is the number one precursor to poor communication. So if we're not feeling the stress, then all of our relationships are going to start to be enhanced. What actually happens is that when we go into the meditative flow and we're meditating, we actually kick out of being in the fight or flight, the parasympathetic nervous system, into the sympathetic nervous system, and we go into rest and digest. So it's like when we put our foot on a gas pedal, that's what our body does naturally when we're in a state of stress. It's like we need that adrenaline to get going. But what is so beneficial for our body is to be able to take us back from that to reset. So we kick out of that when we go into meditative flow, into this practice. We actually start to relax naturally, which means then the autonomic nervous system is really benefited greatly. Cortisol levels drop. All these benefits start to happen. All right, we start to really get some of the feel-good emotions happening for us. So this is why it's so important. Our left and right hemisphere of our brain becomes coordinated as well. And when that happens, we create a bridge between the left, the analytical thinking mind, and the right side of the mind, the creative. So we create this bridge, right? So we have this bridge in the brain. And what that allows us to do then is to get these aha answers or insights, more calm, more clarity, greater focus. We start to use our time more efficiently and effectively as well. So you can see, if you actually engage in this practice of coming home to yourself, why this is the number one most important practice that anyone can really engage in on a day-to-day basis. Science has not come up with a pill that's going to give you the benefits that I've just spoken about. There is no pill on the market. You cannot go buy this. And also thinking about this with any medication, and again, if you need medication, it's medically given to you. I understand all that. But this is a process you can do naturally at any time. You don't need to go to a doctor or to a store to get something. You can, once you learn this technique about resetting, coming home to yourself, really listening inwardly, that allows you to drop into this space of silence. But what happens without any effort on your part is all these other systems start to be improved. want you to think about that. This is natural byproduct. It's like the number one gift from the universe to us. We don't have to do anything else. So if I sit and I'm quiet and I concentrate on the sound of my breath and I just simply relax, what begins to transpire, what begins to happen is all these benefits I've spoken about. Reduction of stress and anxiety, increase in focus and clarity, increased in energy levels, improved relationships, more emotional regulation because we're not feeling as stressed. So it's like water off a duck's back. The more we meditate, we start to realize I'm shifting, but it's happening subtly. So this relationship of coming back home to ourselves is really about learning to trust ourselves, trust the wisdom that's within us, this inherent wisdom. Our body's already starting to do all these miraculous things for us when we go into a meditative flow. Mentally, the mind quiets down. Science has proven we have 70,000 thoughts, a day, the average human being. So if we can start to slow those thoughts down, gain control, not let the monkey brain go, as I like to say it, or as I'm American, I used to talk about the hamster on the wheel, and it goes round and round and round. So how do we disconnect from that and start to experience these benefits? What also tends to happen is our sleep improves. Now there is so much research that is coming out about the benefits of sleep too on our health and well-being. And if we know that through this meditative practice we can improve our sleep, imagine how powerful that is. So what happens is if we have improved sleep, we go really into that state of restorative sleep, a deep, healthy sleep. That's when we start to experience the real benefits. And all these areas of our life are also enhanced. So there is numerous reasons for this. But in terms of our performance, and what I'm saying, I want you to consider for a moment, you're going to be very willing, if your car light comes on, says next service is due, or you get the prompt on the email from the service provider of whatever car you're driving that says it's time for service, you're really, quite accepting of the fact, it's time to get the car in for service because I want it to run optimally. I want you to consider that. Do you consider that you, the mental side of us, because every one of us on this planet has mental health, just like everyone else has a physical health, all right? We agree and we've accepted that we will pay money for gyms, we will accept and pay for Pilates classes or yoga, or we'll buy the bike, or we'll go out and play tennis, which is amazing. All these things, we know the benefits of exercise. And what needs to start to happen is that we start to actually understand that our mental health is, number one, real. Every person on the planet has it. And secondly, that we have to look after our mental health. It's not a negative, it's a positive. And once again, as I've been explaining to you, it enhances every single area of your life. So if you can start to grasp that, okay, I will get in my car, I'm going to drive, I'll book in my service, I'll drive, I'll drop it off. We don't even think about that. It's not really in our mind. It's something we do, we accept because we want our car to run optimally. So how can we recharge ourselves? How can we make sure we're, again, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually really doing the right thing by us? We meditate. We stop, slow down, and create a short pause in our day. So we know there's 24 hours in a day, 60 minutes per hour. So do the math. We have 1,440 minutes a day. And if you can't find 10 minutes for yourself, and as I love one of the best quotes from the Dalai Lama, then you need to find 20 minutes for yourself a day to stop and reflect. 10 minutes out of a 1,440 minute calendar day is plenty of time for us to find 10 minutes to prioritize our health. It's a non-negotiable. Our health is our responsibility, but if we come back to this still, quiet place, you will start to feel nurtured. No matter what's going on around you, you'll feel this sense of strength. You're going to have this sense of connection. You're going to sense being supported. And you're going to really sense that everything's going to be okay. Remember, everything's cumulative, so we keep building this practice. And the more we build the practice, not only the easier it becomes, but the greater the benefits. So my aha moment came 3 months into my practice. And what had happened was I got stopped by a neighbor. And my neighbor said to me, "What are you doing?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "What are you actually doing? You look different. You're glowing." And I thought, that's really an odd comment. I'm doing the same thing. I'm a mother of 2 young boys. I'm still managing the house. I'm working. Paul's traveling. My husband was traveling with work, etc., etc. So I'm like going, nothing's different. She goes, no, you are so much calmer. And that was when it was like, ding, the light bulb went off. That was my light bulb moment. And I realized right then and there that, wow, this is my meditation practice. My instructor at the time, when I'd learned 3 months prior, had said to us, you may not notice what's going on inside of you, because again, as I mentioned earlier, it's about trusting the practice. She said, but it will be when someone else comes up to you and says something to you that's when the penny will drop. And that's exactly what happened. So my neighbor had said, you seem calmer. And that was my light bulb moment. And I really tuned into that and thought, you know what, I'm calmer, and I feel like I have more energy, and I definitely feel like I have more patience. But I needed to learn to prioritize myself. And that's probably, having taught now since 2003, I think one of the biggest hindrances that we all come across. Learning to prioritize ourselves, value our health and well-being enough, like that self-care, self-love, truly value yourself. So for women, I know that we tend to say, I've got the job, the kids to look after, the laundry or the dishes or the food. I mean, we tend to make a lot of excuses. Again, this is from years of teaching other women as well, and how we can make excuses for ourselves, and we tend to put ourselves last. So can you give yourself permission to actually say, no, you know what? All those things can wait, because if I do this 10-minute practice, then not only am I going to be more efficient with my time and effective with my time, which means I'm going to get everything done, okay, with a lot more ease and grace, because I feel better. I'm going to not procrastinate. I've got orderly thinking, the focus, all those things. Imagine how our day is if we really think about that. And for the men, for a lot of the men I've taught too, their mind switches on the minute they wake up. A lot of times they're focused on, got to get out the door, I'm getting to the office, or I'm dropping the kids off at school, how am I going to fit it all in? So we all have patterns that we drop into. And oftentimes as well, and this is, again, because this is for all of us, it's just about not understanding we do need to prioritize it. The idea of pushing through or shoving through, or, just when things get tough, just, the tough get going, that's a really old mindset. So why don't we flip that and go, what can I do? What can I do right now that's going to flip that on its head and go, no, I actually know if I can give myself 10 minutes a day and prioritize myself, then I'm actually not only going to make myself feel better, but I'm going to impact positively everyone in my life. So think about that for a moment. You are going to impact everyone in your life. You fundamentally have that much power within you that you can then, if you are feeling better and happier, then you know that your relationships are improved. Your husband, your wife, your children, everyone is positively impacted from this relationship. And it all comes back to having a relationship with yourself. And I think that that's really, really a valuable insight. Now, one of the things that some of you may have noticed, and if you look behind me, is you can see that way, I've got the spirit of aloha there. There's this picture, this beautiful painting on my wall. Once again, there she is. And that is this idea, this concept, spirit of aloha. I'm coming to you from Hawaii, where we actually came over to from Melbourne in September. We have a home here, and there was just some personal as well as business obligations that we had to attend to. So fortunately for us, we were able to get to Hawaii. Now, the reason why I'm calling attention to the spirit of aloha, is that aloha means I am recognizing, aloha, the divinity in you that is in me. So really this actual recognition, this connection. So when I say aloha to someone, it's like I'm coming from a space of love. But what I really, it's hard to even keep the word love out of it when I'm talking about aloha. But what is so powerful about that statement is you're recognizing, I'm whole, I'm complete, I'm recognizing the same in you, and I'm building up this wealth of it's almost like a storehouse of energy, of positivity, of strength, of nurturing myself. It's about self-care and self-love. And in a lot of people that I've interviewed for my work, or in people that I've worked with over the years, it's so amazing to me that the aha moment comes for them, like it did for me, when all of a sudden they start recognizing that all areas of their life have begun to improve because they've had a relationship with themselves. That space of saying the love that is so important. So I really hope I am articulating this in a way and giving you some solid examples about how this is going to benefit you. So we've all become incredibly dependent on our phones, right? And as I said to you, these 1,440 minutes in a day. But if we were to walk out of our home and say our phone's at 17% battery, we tend to get a bit stressed about that, don't we? And we worry about how we're going to recharge our phone because we want it to run optimally. We don't want it to run out of battery. So I really want you to get that visual. You're looking at your phone, you can see the battery life is going down. So what if we never stopped and looked after our mental health? What if we had this expectation that our mind, again, just keep going on and on without ever pausing? How well do you think it's going to perform? Or I've given you the idea of the car and we check it in for service. So if I was going to ask you, all right, to go and you have a prospective new job, and I'm asking you as you interview with your new potential employer, and his job description is you're going to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, with no opportunity for a holiday, and there's no timeouts, and you can't quit this job. Who on this call would actually take this job? I don't think there's anyone, right? But that's this amazing, miraculous job that our mind is actually doing for us. It's incredible. And it's time that we start to learn to love your mind. So this was a really profound insight I had last year is, can we change this idea? And I'm going to call it out here. People have so many, blocks to why they are going to actually create meditation, or turn it into a habit, I should say. Why is it so hard for us? Why is it hard to value ourselves? Why do we have this expectation that we're going to place more demands on our mind than we would our mobile phone? Think about that for a minute. Like, we really have placed our value on a mobile phone in that analogy of needing to make sure that's plugged in, but we're not willing to do the same for us. So this idea, this concept, what can you nurture in your inner world? What can you build up, and how do you want to show up for your friends, your families, your colleagues, for all of your, really for your personal relationships? It's incredible. So I just wanted to end on that note in terms of why it's so important for us to come home to ourselves. I'd like to lead you in a really short 3-minute breath awareness exercise, just to bring you back into the moment again. I've spoken a lot. So if you could please just find that comfortable seat while you're sitting there. And I just want you to close your eyes. Please place your palms on your thighs. And I want you to take a deep inhalation and exhalation in through your nose. And I will